Today we will replace the main spring on a Janz Revolver. I have already taken the grips off and removed the cylinder. These are the two screws that we will need to take out in order to open the mechanical plate in the back here. So this one also holds the trigger in. That is why we leave the actual screw inside the frame. We will loosen it, open it, but leave it inside. This one here we will take out. So use a good screwdriver. They're fairly tight. They need to be tight. And I can feel that this is loose, so I will leave the screw in, but take the screwdriver out. We'll do the same on this one. The reason I leave my fingers there is in case I slip up. I don't want to mar the surface of the metal. Take that screw out. So this is the plate now that we will take out. This is the mainspring housing assembly. Use a screwdriver and go inside and gently pry this open. Be careful that you do not slip. And then I'll take it out. You can see there's a notch that is in this cover plate that goes into the housing of the frame. So this part here is the housing, the mainspring assembly. The spring is in here. Obviously it is attached to the trigger. It rides on this little pin as a pivot point, and I am not sure if you can see this or not. There's a hole. This is a two-part piece, so this piece comes out. Actually the whole thing comes out, but I usually leave this in. This comes out. When I push the trigger back, there will be a small hole visible that releases the spring tension. Well, actually the tension is now on the spring, but I have locked it in so I can remove it from the hammer here. I'm going to set the revolver aside. So this part right here is that rides on that little pin for the main for the hammer. This part here is my little pin that I hold that inside part so that the trigger, the spring is compressed. In order to take that out, what I will do is I'll take something to protect my hands, because this is kind of sharp, and also this is under quite a bit of pressure since it's the mainspring. So please be careful, wear eye protection, and if you do it on something where this can get away from you, make sure that you have some sort of a magnet with you or something in case it goes. So I'm going to push this down, remove my pin holder, let it go, and it comes out. And so these are our parts. That's the main spring. This is the part that is actually holding the spring in this housing. This little hole is where I had my pin to hold this down. So we replace the spring. So now I have to make sure that I have this hole on the side that I can actually put this back together. And sometimes it is a little bit tricky. Sometimes it works okay. This time it worked okay. So I have it back together. Put this back in my revolver. So you notice this, again, this little indentation here goes where this hammer pin is. I will charge my revolver, remove the holding plate, the holding pin I should say, and now I put this back together. When you put this plate back on, this is always a little bit of a problem, so they need to be in here, but a lot of times you have to also push it with your finger. We have to make sure that these straight lines are parallel to each other and not twisted or tilted. You noticed when I pushed this in, this went in quite nicely. So I bring it back together as much as possible, and then put my screws back. So again, we want to snug these. And here we go. It's all finished.